Have you ever opened a book that felt, well, less like a book and more like an entire ocean? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most incredible works of spiritual literature ever written, the Masnavi by the 13th century poet Rumi. And trust me, it's not just a collection of poems, it's a vast, sprawling ocean of stories, wisdom, and profound guidance.
And let's just jump right in with a line that captures the whole spirit of this thing. Rumi is telling us right from the get-go that the stuff we're really looking for in life, love, truth, something bigger than ourselves, you can't just catch it with logic. You can't set a trap for it. You have to find a completely different way of seeing the world.
And that's exactly where the stories come in. To really get the Masnavi, you gotta stop thinking of it as a book with a normal plot. Instead, imagine it's this deep, endless ocean, filled with all these different fables and teachings that just kind of wash over you.
So what is it technically? Well, it's a massive, 6-book poem. But that's just the format. Its real job, its whole purpose, is to be a guide on a spiritual journey. And Rumi's absolute favorite tool to get you there? The story.
See, this is the key to Rumi's genius. He almost never just lectures you or gives you a list of rules. Instead, he wraps these huge, profound truths inside these simple, memorable tales, and he lets you figure out the meaning. It's a brilliant way of showing you the truth instead of just telling you about it.
So let's see this in action. To really get how his method works, we're going to look at one of the most famous parables from the Masnavi. It's a perfect example.
Okay, so picture this. Our story kicks off with this really dramatic scene. A traveler is out in the wilderness and finds a bear fighting for its life against a dragon. And the man, being a good guy, jumps in and saves the bear. Now, the bear is so incredibly grateful that it basically becomes the man's shadow. It's this devoted, powerful bodyguard that follows him absolutely everywhere, a loyal friend.
So one afternoon, the man is taking a nap, and this little fly starts buzzing around his face, landing on his nose, being super annoying and waking him up.
The bear, seeing its master being bothered, thinks, I gotta help. So it looks around, and what's the first thing it sees? A giant rock. And it picks it up to get rid of that tiny little fly.
I think you can guess what happens next. The fly is definitely gone, but so is the man's head. It's a bit of dark humor for sure, but the lesson is so powerful. Good intentions are great, but without wisdom, they can be more dangerous than an actual enemy. And this whole idea, wisdom versus good-intentioned ignorance, it's a theme that runs through the entire Masnavi. And it leads us straight to one of Rumi's biggest ideas, the difference between what things look like and what they really are.
Okay, check this out. Rumi says we have two ways of seeing. There's the eye of the senses, which just sees the surface of things. It sees the foam on the water, but then there's the eye of the heart, which sees the whole massive ocean underneath. The senses see the dust getting kicked up. The heart sees the invisible wind that's actually moving it. It's the difference between illusion and reality.
And here's how Rumi puts it. He says that if you only rely on your physical senses, the world actually feels small and limited. You're stuck looking at the foam, totally missing the real power of the waves. It's a kind of blindness, really, that keeps you from seeing the bigger picture.
So what causes this blindness? What's the thing that keeps us all staring at the foam instead of the ocean? Well, Rumi is crystal clear about who the culprit is. He asks this really sharp, provocative question. He's basically suggesting that we're our own jailers. The traps we're stuck in, we're the ones who built them. And here they are. These are the bars on the cage he's talking about. Rumi calls this trap the self, or what we today might call the ego, and it's fueled by all this stuff. He calls greed a dragon, warns that envy makes us small and unworthy, and that spite and lust are literally the enemies of our true, better nature. So, when you boil it all down, the entire Masnavi, with its thousands of stories, is basically a book of escape plans. It's a map for this inner journey, a way to get beyond the ego so that we can finally see things as they really are.
Which brings us to the ultimate goal. Okay, so if we manage to escape this trap, then what? What do we become? Well, a final, beautiful parable from the Masnavi gives us the answer.
So the story goes that a friend is traveling to visit the prophet Joseph, who was known for his incredible, almost divine beauty. And this friend is just agonizing over it, thinking, what on earth could I bring as a gift that would be worthy of him? And then he has this brilliant idea. He decides to bring a perfectly polished mirror. His reasoning is just perfect. What could I possibly give you that you don't already possess in abundance? So instead, I brought you a mirror, so you can see your own perfect face and think of me. And this
Right here is Rumi's ultimate point. The Masnavi itself is that mirror. It's not trying to give you something new that you don't have. It's a tool for you to clear away all the dust of that ego, all that greed and envy, so you can look into it and finally see the divine beauty that was inside you all along.
And that's where we'll leave it. Rumi holds this mirror up for us, all these centuries later. And the final question isn't his to answer, it's ours. If you were to look into it right now, past the foam, past the dust, what would you see?